Of course, as a young man, my dad had literally moved to Oklahoma, and we were in a little 2-bedroom house that we kind of rented at the time. And I learned real early that my parents were poor. I mean, they didn't have enough money to do this or that. So I started trying to sell different things, it's kind of nice. And then I really thought, man, this is kind of cool to be able to sell to somebody, and they actually bought that. So my dad, he wanted to be part of the mechanical part at Tinker's, so he went to school. At the time, I was going to college. Didn't really know what I wanted to do at all. Didn't have any idea. I always knew I wanted to be some kind of in business. I knew that the schooling wasn't going to help me much. I thought, well, that just doesn't make sense for me. And my dad said, you like to work with your hands. Why don't you try heat and air? And I loved it.
I remember being 16, driving in my 1984 Pathfinder. I called my dad and I said, Dad, can I come work for you? And he said yes. And then we started working every single day. I want to be a leader that people say, I want to work for him. I want him to care because of that discipline I had that my dad showed me. So.
And when I went to Hinton Refrigeration, I actually really learned a lot from Hinton because they did mainly grocery stores and things like that. And I think I was ready at that time to really get out on my own. In that process, I came home to my wife and I said, I quit. Of course, that wasn't very fun at the house. I had 2 children at home, and but I knew I had that good feeling in my heart that with what I know, there's no reason why I couldn't do any better.
I'm very, very lucky that my dad took the sacrifices that he did so that we could actually be in the position that we are in now.
I actually bought one of those, used to be Southwestern Bell trucks that had little utility beds on them, and I started working for anybody that had worked for me. And this man from A&T, he said, I really don't have anybody that will be able to turn on these air conditioners. I don't have anybody qualified. I've hired them, but they really don't understand like you do. A year passed and I did quite a few jobs for him, starting things up. And he says, I want to make an offer you can't refuse. I said, oh yeah, what's that? He says, well, would you like to buy my business? It was a God-given gift to me when I bought A&T. We had about 30 employees at the time, and I learned a lot. We did quite well, very well. Mainly it was just commercial, and I learned that you did a good job for them, you get the next job and the next job, and it was already going, so I just had to follow suit. I made sure that we were a team, and then the A&T became Alvarez and Team. For 43 years, we've made that happen. And of course, Joseph, as your son, you want him to be excellent. You want him to be the best.
To work for your dad is very hard, but reality is I didn't want to fail. Whenever we started doing installs, I would be like, give me the hardest thing and you do that, because I wanted to make sure everything was perfect.
He said, well, Dad, I think I might want to take your business over someday. With that being said, I felt comfortable that he could. I was still on him all the time. It was rough. And he goes, I think I'm going to need some help here now that Jessica's been involved. It's been a very great knit thing.
It's just really a great feeling to be able to show my kid that you can be successful in anything that you want to be.
I mean, it's just like I see me within them every day. The decisions they make, I see it all the time. I think you're going to see A&T just really grow to be unbelievable.